Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing some early Rotterdam major predictions today. I'm recording this on the 22nd of November. You'll probably be seeing this on the 24th, I think. So I'm about a week early, or a week before it starts. I wanted to get these out there pretty quickly. I'm also thinking about doing a top 25 players list as well. So all the players that are going to the major. Top 25 list of those players. Let me know what you think. If you want me to do that, then I'll see what I can do. But we're not going to sit around too long here. We're going to get straight into this. And the first match is Carmine Corp against James Cheese. Now, James Cheese obviously unbeaten in their region. They are a lot better than every team that they have played against. There's been a couple of close matches, but they're pretty much the dominant team. Obviously, the team consisting of Virtuoso, Kami, and Realize. Now, on paper, obviously, their results are amazing, but they're coming up against Carmine Corp. Now, I personally believe all the players on Carmine Corp obviously have been to LANs, and because of that, not only just because of that, obviously Carmine Corp are an insane team. They're probably arguably the best team in the world at the moment. They're going to still comfortably beat James Cheese. I don't think it's going to be that close at all, to be honest. But I am hoping to see James Cheese do some damage later on in the tournament, but we'll see. I don't know where these predictions are going to go, so we'll just have to wait and see. Next match is Gen G against Power. Power, an OCE team. I think this is going to be another sweep. I think Gen G and Carmine Corp right now are probably top 2 in the world. I think when FaZe are putting it together, they can also be an argument for being up there with these two teams. But I think these two teams are comfortably top 2 in the world currently. The next match is FaZe against Moist. This is a really massive matchup quite early on. Moist obviously not looking as good as we know they can be. They haven't quite figured it out yet. I feel like obviously they've made the major, so that's good and that's the priority. But I don't feel like they've quite figured out the level that they're supposed to be at. They're not as good as they were when they had Vatira. I do believe they can still get back to that level, but this is going to be a really tough match for them in the first round. Now, Moist do tend to play really well against the better teams. They seem to come out punching, they come out fighting. I still don't think they're going to beat FaZe in this first round. I do think it will go to 5, but I'm going to have to give it to FaZe because Moist I'm not too sure about at the moment. Next match is the Club against Pioneers. Now, the Club looking like the dominant team in their region in South America. And Pioneers, I believe, a top seed in OCE. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. Them and Power are top 2. But Pioneers, every time they've been at a LAN, they look really good. You know, they're definitely a solid team. I mean, the players have a lot of pop-off potential on this team. But the Club, for me, last time out, they looked really good as well. And I think they were quite unlucky against FaZe. And therefore, I think they're going to take this. And I think it'll be 3-1 to the Club. I think the Lost is a brilliant player. Arguably top 25 on the list, but you'll have to wait and see for that one. And Astromic as well. And their new player, Bems, I believe it is. Also looking very good. Very, very good. He's been a good replacement for KV1 so far. So yeah, overall as a team, the Club are looking quite scary. And I think they're going to be scary at this major. Next is Team Liquid against Team Secret. I think, obviously, Team Liquid, none of the players, I don't believe any of them have been at a LAN yet. They're all very young. So I don't think they have. There could be some sort of element of nerves, but at the same time, a lot of these young guns don't really feel nerves. You know, they know their ability, they know how good they are at the game, and each individual player on Liquid are extremely good at the game, extremely high mechanics, and they know what they're capable of. And I don't think Team Secret will have much to offer against Liquid. I don't think they'll have enough against them, and so that's going to be another sweep in my mind. Next match is version 1 against Quadrant. This one's really tasty. This one could go either way, in my opinion. I think V1, obviously, we know they're very strong on LAN. They have that sort of factor of they just don't give up. They never give up. And with Calm on the team as well, screaming over at you. You know, for some players, that's not easy to listen to. It's annoying, and that's why he does it. I think that could get to Quadrant a little bit. I think if Quadrant play at their best, they could definitely beat V1, but I think there's going to be some sort of element of nerves on Quadrant and not as much on V1. And for that reason, I'm going to give it to 3-1. I'm going to give it 3-1 to V1. Yeah, I'm not going to have that going to Game 5. I think V1 will be pretty comfortable there. Next match is Oxygen against G2. This is another tough one. I mean, they're all going to be tough, right? This is a major, so this is really tough. And I feel like, again, a bit like V1 and Quadrant, G2 have got a bit more experience, I feel like. Obviously, Oxygen's players, 2 out of the 3 at least, I know have been to LAN. I don't know if Oli has or not. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, we know Jorias has and RG has. I do feel like it's going to be a tight game, but I have to give it to G2. I have to give it to G2 in my mind because I just think G2 have that bit more about them than Oxygen. Actually, you know, if it goes to 5, I would slightly lean towards Oxygen. So therefore, I think I'm gonna go 3-1 to G2 because I just think Oxygen are going to have some nerves. Oh, it's tough though. It's really tough. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. But it really could go either way. I know it doesn't really reflect here, but it definitely could go either way. It really just depends how Archie and Joriez come out, right? We've seen how good they can be on land, but we've also seen how much they can crumble on land. It just depends how they come out. G2 are a pretty quiet team, so it might be better for Oxygen that way. I still feel like G2 are going to win that. Next up is Space Station against Team Falcons. Now, in my mind, this is only going one way. I'm not entirely sure about SSG yet. I'm really not. I don't think they've improved since they got rid of Rettles. I don't think they're any worse, but I don't think they've improved. Now, I would have had Falcons beating an SSG team with Rettles on, and because I don't think SSG have improved, I still think Falcons are going to win this, and it's going to be another 3-1 in my mind. I think SSG will take a game, but Falcons, there was a lot of question marks around them at the beginning of the split, but now, especially their last regional, they looked really, really, really strong, like the old Falcons that we know, so I think they're going to be a really tough team at this major. Next up is Falcons against James Cheese. I don't think I can give James Cheese a game here again, which is sad, because I really want to give them a game, or even a series win somewhere. Never mind, it's just changed. I mustn't have clicked off. It's now Moist James Cheese, so maybe I can give them a game here. Wondered why Falcons were down here in the low matches when I just put them to win. Anyway, yeah, right. It's Moist against James Cheese. I still think Moist will win. I do. I'm going to go 3-2 though. I think Moist are going to have a little bit of a rocky start. I really do. And I think James Cheese will sense that and try and sniff that out. They're not going to win, but they're going to take it to game 5. Oxygen against Power up next. I think this is going to be reasonably comfortable for Oxygen. I think Power will take a game, but Oxygen are going to start hitting their stride around this point, I think. Obviously, depending on what kind of matches they get. SSG against Team Secret is next up. I think SSG will win this game. I think they'll bounce back, and I think I will give Secret a game because any team here is capable of taking games off of other teams, but I will give SSG the series overall. Quadrant against Pioneers is next. This could be tough for Quadrant as well because Pioneers, they really are a tough team, and I do rate them. I definitely do rate them. They are tough players. They did remind me a little bit of SSG last season. Just very rugged, very getting really stuck in, you know, not scared to challenge the ball, not scared to make risky plays. Quadrant might struggle a little bit against that. I am going to give Quadrant the win still, because Quadrant do look really good when they're putting it together. But I'm going to have it going to 5. I think Pioneers will give them a proper game there. Next up is Carmine Corp against FaZe. I feel like KC will be too much for FaZe in this one. I think Vatira, he's just too strong. I really do believe that. And I feel like it's going to be hard for FaZe to break them down. I think Itachi and Exotic are two really good players that allow Vatira to do what he needs to do. I mean, Exotic is that man that just will challenge the ball and win the 50s, and the loose balls will be picked up via Vatira and Itachi. And I don't think Exotic gets enough praise for that kind of role. Obviously, Exotic's got very good mechanics as well, but being in the Fennec, he will be looking at those sort of 50s in the midfield to try and release the ball to his teammates. And I think they'll do that really well against FaZe. They're not going to take 31 games off of FaZe, but they're going to take 3 games off of FaZe. FaZe are only going to get 1 in my mind. Gen G against G2. If Gen G bring the heat that they've been bringing in the North American region, I can see them beating any team here. I think they will bring that. I don't know. It's hard because we've seen Appjack on land before and he's been quite nervous on land, but I believe personally that's because of the teammates he had. I'm not saying they didn't get along or anything, but I just don't think they trusted each other as much as he trusts his current teammates. I think he really does trust Nolly and Chronic. I think they will take this as well against G2, and I think it's going to be another 3-1. Team Liquid against Team Falcons. This is a crazy matchup. Absolutely crazy. If this happens, I will be watching this one. Liquid, extremely mechanical team. Falcons, extremely mechanical team. Both very, very fast teams. I think Falcons will have that little bit more. I will have it going to 5 though. I really do think Liquid will give them a game, but I've got Falcons winning that. The club against V1 next. This has potential to be an upset in my mind, and I feel like this could be the first upset in the tournament. Yes, I had V1 beating Quadrant. I know that, but I think Quadrant are going to be extremely nervous, and I feel like a team like the club, in general, South American teams just don't seem like a nervous region. That might seem silly, but to me, they just have a lot of confidence coming out of that region. And Astromic and Lost obviously both have been at a LAN. And when they were at the LAN, even their first LANs, they looked very comfortable, you know. I think this is going to be the first upset. There has to be upsets. There's always upsets. I'm going to go with this one being the first one. We're going to go 3-2 to the club. As you can see, the round 3 matches here all have been generated. So we're going to go to the low matches. Pioneers against Power. Unfortunate to see 2 teams from the same region going up against each other in the low matches in Swiss stage. But that is how it goes sometimes. Now, Power did beat Pioneers, I believe, in one of the regionals. It might have been the most recent one. Can't remember exactly. But I feel like in a LAN setting, I think Pioneers would just be a little bit too strong in my mind. Power do look good when they're putting it together, but they have also had their down moments as well. I think Fever's a brilliant player, especially on LAN. He's proven that before. But I don't think they're strong enough to take Pioneers down, although I will have it going to 5. Because I think Power are going to be obviously fighting for their lives here. I just think Pioneers might have that bit too much of a clutch factor about them. Next is James Cheese against Team Secret. Now, it's tough. I don't know about Team Secret too much. They look okay, but not amazing in my mind. Now, James Cheese, obviously, on paper, if you didn't know anything about any of these teams, you would say, right, James Cheese is the best team here because of the results they've had, right? But that's not the case. They are in an easier region. That is just how it is. It doesn't matter how I put it. They are in an easier region, that's just a fact. But I do rate them somewhat. I think they could be a dangerous team. I think Kami's really underrated. I think Realize is really underrated. And I think Vert's probably really underrated as well. So I think they could still cause damage, and this is where it's going to start to happen. I'm going to have them beating Secret 3-1. Secret are going out with Power. Team Liquid against Quadrant next. An all-EU matchup. I think Liquid are going to be scary in this tournament. And again, I'm really not sure about Quadrant. So I'm going to have this going to 3-1 to Liquid. Version 1 against Moist Esports. Oof, this is going to be tough because Moist have had Version 1's number more than the other way around. But with Com screaming at you and Moist maybe not playing as well as they probably should be, it's hard to say which way it will go. Obviously V1 coming off a loss against the club, in my opinion. Moist coming off a close series with James Cheese, in my opinion. Okay, I've settled on a 3-2 win for Version 1. Purely because I just don't know about Moist right now. I really don't. Now, they could completely prove me wrong. On a LAN setting against top teams, they do tend to do very well. I'm going to go against that at the moment and say they're going to be losing this game against V1. G2 against SSG next. I think G2 are probably the better team when they're putting it together. SSG, I'm just, even when they're putting it together, they look good, don't get me wrong, but it's just hard to say where they really are at right now and whether they have improved or not from last season. I'm going to have this 3-1 to G2. And then FaZe against Oxygen next. I think FaZe will win this. Oxygen are a tough team, but I just think FaZe are more solid. They're a solid team. I have less worries about FaZe going into matchups than I do with Oxygen, and therefore, in my mind, I have to give this to FaZe, and I think there's going to be another 3-1 in my mind. Okay, let's let the matches generate then. Oh no, we've got some more matches to do over here. My apologies. High matches. Carmine Corp against Falcons. Wow, that is tough. That's really tough. I think Carmine Corp are a scary team though, right? Falcons are as well, don't get me wrong. But Carmine Corp and Gen.G are, in my mind, the teams to beat at this tournament. If you're going to want to win this tournament, you're going to have to go for at least one of them. So, I think KC will win this, and we're going to have it 3-1. Gen.G against the club next. I think the club are coming off a good win, but not good enough to beat a team like Gen.G. So I'm going to have this going. I'm going to have them sweeping that, actually. I'm going to have Gen.G sweeping that. Okay, round 4 low matches here then generated. Oxygen against James Cheese. I think this is going to be where James Cheese unfortunately bail out. Although this does have upset potential. Yeah, I can't see them beating Oxygen, unfortunately. I just think Oxygen have got too much speed and mechanics about them. And I'm going to have that as a sweep. Moist against Pioneers. I think Moist will bounce back here. 3-1 against Pioneers. Not really much to say on that. SSG against Quadrant. I think Quadrant are a better team when they're putting it together. But SSG will be shouting over at Quadrant. I'm not sure how that's going to affect Quadrant. I'm really not sure. I think SSG could win this. I think they could win this. I do think, like I said, when both teams are putting it together, I think Quadrant are better. But in a LAN setting, I'm not sure about Quadrant. I like to think EXO will be shouting back. I don't think Relating Wave would. And I don't think Cash would. Maybe he would, I don't know. In my mind, I think a couple of people have mentioned that Cash can get pumped up and stand up, which is great. But in my mind, I always thought EXO would be the one sort of standing up, shouting over. Oh, it's really tough. I think by this stage, Quadrant will be better. But yeah, I've talked to myself out of it. I was going to go with an SSG win, but I can see Quadrant shouting back. So I think it's going to come down to that, honestly. You can shout louder. Not quite literally, obviously. But I'm going to go with Quadrant winning that. I swayed my mind there. I thought about it for too long. Round 4 high matches, Falcons against FaZe. Now, in the past, I believe Falcons have had slightly better results against FaZe. I know last time they played, FaZe did sweep them, though, I think, in a LAN setting. But Falcons weren't looking amazing at the time, and they look better now, in my opinion. I think Falcons will win this. I don't even think it'd be 3-2. I think it'd be 3-1. I think if Falcons win, they win comfortably, you know, most of the time. The club against G2. It's going to be tough for the G2 boys, but I think they will win this. The club aren't a team to be messed with, in my opinion. But I think G2 will be sort of getting to grips now with each other. I think they always start off a bit slow, or they can start off slow. But by now, I think they'll be doing okay. I'm going to have this going to game 5, though, because I do think the club can take plenty of games off of teams here. Next up is Liquid against V1. I think Liquid would be too good for V1. I think I've got the narrative I'm going with here is that Liquid are going to be firing on all cylinders in this tournament. I like to think they can bring their last regional performance into this LAN. That's what I'm going with. And because of that, I'm actually going to have them sweeping V1 here. Because I think Liquid would just be too much for V1. I really do. I don't think they're going to get affected by Com shouting at them. I don't think Com's going to have many opportunities to shout at them. Because I think Liquid would be that good. And therefore we got a sweep for that game. Round 5 matches, FaZe against Quadrant. I think FaZe will be a little bit better than Quadrant. It's tough because FaZe are a very quiet team. And I feel like sometimes that can be not a bad thing, but they never look too fired up or pumped up. Maybe that's a good thing for them. You know, maybe they play better when they're calm. I don't know them. I don't know them personally, so I can't say. But I think they'll be a little bit better than Quadrant. It's going to go to 5, but I think they'll take Quadrant. The club against Moist next. Some big names going out here. Not sure about Moist, you know. I'm really not sure. I almost want to give this to the club. And Moist are the team that I personally would like to see win. So I'm obviously not being biased because I'd have them sweeping otherwise. Do the club take down Moist or do Moist come out firing? I think this does have potential to be an upset, but in my mind, Moist know they have to win this, right? And when they know they have to win, and they're playing against a good team, I think they're going to come out firing. V1 against Oxygen. I've got V1 winning this. It pains me to say it, but I just think they're just a tougher, grittier team than a lot of these teams here, and I think it gets them through a lot of series. Just being tough and gritty, and obviously having beast mode on your team is a massive bonus as well. And Calm and Torment, don't get me wrong. Calm, you know, the disruptor of the team, and Torment holding that back line nice and steady. Yeah, I've got V1 winning that in 5. Okay, after those predictions then, this is how the main event results table looks. Gen G and Carmine Cup going through sweeping in series, but Gen G dropping 1 less game than Carmine Cup, which puts them at the top. Liquid in 3rd. G2 for Falcons 5th, Moist 6th, FaZe 7th, V1 8th. Some big names going out. No matter what, there's going to be big names going out. These are the teams I've got going out. Oxygen and Quadrant. Big names. The club, Space Station, Pioneers. I mean, they're all big names, right? So, yeah, in my mind, these are the teams that are just going to not have quite enough. But yeah, these are the top 8 teams. I'm going to do the prediction for the playoffs now. If these games are played here, the ones I predicted, and they are completely opposite to what my predictions were, like my last predictions video was horrendous. I was nowhere near. If this goes the same way, I may make another video just before the playoffs are played and predict the actual playoff matches. But we're going to do them here anyway, just in case I am close. Unlikely. Gen G against V1 then in the first quarterfinal matchup. Best of 7, of course. And I think Gen G are going to be too strong here. And I think that will take that 4-1 in favour of Gen G. Don't think that's going to be really close at all. Falcons against G2. Falcons have been G2's nemesis in the past, as we know. Even without their fully strengthened roster. When they had Senzo on their team in their first LAN, the first match in their LAN, I think, actually. They swept G2. And I think Falcons are a stronger team than them, currently. I don't think they'll sweep G2, but I do think they will beat G2. I'm going to give a couple of games to G2, though. But they're not going to beat Falcons, I'm afraid. Oh, God. Carmine Corp against FaZe Clan. Tough, but I feel like Carmine Corp are close to unbeatable at the moment. I really do. And I'm going to have them beating FaZe. I am going to have it going to 7, but I think Vatira will score the goal here to close out the series. Team Liquid against Moist Esports next up. Team Liquid, scary team at the moment. And looking a little bit better than Moist in current form. And therefore, I am going to have Liquid taking this one. 4-2. It's not going to go to 7 in my mind. We're going to go over here to Carmine Corp against Team Liquid in the semi-finals matchup. Now, last time these two played, Liquid did come out on top. As we know, Liquid did take the last regional. They won it to secure their spot in the major and actually secure 2nd seed as well. So that was pretty cool. from 6th seed to 2nd seed. Not bad in one weekend. Will they beat Karmine Corp again? They're going to be strong, but I don't think they're going to beat Karmine Corp. I don't think it's going to happen. I actually think Karmine Corp are going to win this reasonably comfortably. And that puts KC in the final. Up here in the semi-finals, other semi-final matchup, I should say, Gen.G against Falcons. I can't see Gen.G losing this. It's going to be obviously their hardest match yet. Definitely. But I'm going to have them winning it. And that leaves a Gen.G Mobile 1 Racing against Karmine Corp Grand Final. So NA team against EU team Grand Final. How is this going to pan out? This is really tough. I'm actually going to have to think about this. I think Gen.G can do it. I do. I really think they can do it. And because of that, I'm going to have them winning in 7. I think it's going to be a bit of a fairy tale story because, as we know, 2 EU players went over to NA and formed, originally it was called the Stormtroopers team with Chronic, and then obviously they were bought out by Gen.G. And nobody really expected them to be as good as they were coming out of the blocks. I think I can't say people underrated them because I don't think anybody really thought they were going to be as good as. So I guess everybody underrated them in a sense, but I don't think they were wrong to underrate them because nobody could have seen how good they were going to be this quickly. I think everybody thought the team would definitely be good at some point, but not this fast. And I can only see them just keep on going, honestly. I think they're going to take it into this LAN, take it all the way. I really do. So yeah, NA take first blood, in my opinion, with Gen.G. And they're going to beat the scary team that is Karmine Corp. If you guys did agree with my predictions, let me know. If you don't agree, also let me know in the comments below. Tell me what team you think will win. Tell me what matchups you think I got wrong if you want. I don't mind, as long as it's all friendly. I don't mind. I do not mind at all. I like hearing other people's opinions. You've listened to mine, so now I want to listen to yours. If you want to do your own spreadsheet in your own time, check the description box below. I'm going to link this spreadsheet there. You will get this page come up. Well, you'll get the main event. Well, you'll get this page come up, I should say, here. And then from here, you want to go to File, make a copy. And then once you've done that, go on the copy that you've made, and then you'll be able to edit all of these and you'll be able to submit all of your results. You won't be able to do it straight away, so make sure you make the copy first. That's how you do this. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the predictions. Let me know what your predictions are. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Like I said, I'm thinking about doing a top 25 players list. So all the players, all these teams here, all of their players crammed into a top 25 list. Some players obviously will miss out. If you want to see that, let me know and I will see what I can do. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will speak to you all very soon. Goodbye.